Welcome to the DNA of Hope and Strengths, a path to progress. So glad you were able to join us at this Strive Life Summit for 2025. My name is Jane McCarthy, also known as Jane Storm. So, who is Jane Storm? I worked for Verizon for over 30 years and I ran their business to business loyalty program. While there, I worked with a company called Kobe Marketing. And one day I showed up at their offices and there was a huge sign on the wall and it said Jane Storm. And I said, "What is this?" And they said, "Jane, when you show up, we don't brainstorm, we Jane Storm. You connect people with ideas better than anyone we've ever met." From that moment on, I was coined Jane Storm. Who knew that 5 years later, I'd leave Verizon and I'd have to come up with a company name? And right away, I thought Jane Storm, connecting people with ideas. And I've been doing that ever since 2019, from working at Aris Sisters, where I was a producer of 50 women's stories from around the world, where women spoke of resilience and strength and hardship and how they overcame so many challenges. And then in Willpower, where I trained people from around the world on Zoom and on Teams during the pandemic. And from there, we did legacy work. We looked at, what do you want to do, say, or build that's going to last 50, 100, 200 years from now? And we were actually able to go to an ashram in India and speak in front of over 500 to 700,000 people live. And it was all around the subject of we are one. And my message was hope, holding on to positive energy. And that began a journey of becoming a hope activator and getting hope activators from around the globe. I'm hoping some of you will join in that, because what do we need more of? Hope, holding on to positive energy. It does not mean there aren't problems. It just means there are possibilities. I do coaching, I do executive coaching, workshops, I do retreats around the world. I'm happily married to the calm man of my storm, and I'm a mom of two 20 something kids that have become such adventurers that they live thousands of miles away from me in another state. But it's a great place for us to get to go and visit. So, what are we here to talk about today? What is hope? When I think of hope, I think of my mom. That's who's in this picture. That's Peg Buckley. And she was in my life the first hope activator. And in about 4 years ago, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I remember her sitting with me and saying, "How am I going to get through this?" And then she said, I'm going to have hope. And I'm going to be a teacher of what it's like to live while we're dying. And by the way, Jane, all of us are living while we're dying. And that just stuck with me. She believed in the principles of Huna. The world is what you think it is. There are no limits. Everything is possible. Energy flows where attention goes. Now is the moment of power. To love is to be happy. Power comes from within, and effectiveness is the measure of truth. This started many years ago. Let me tell you about Leah Smiley and me. That was the beginning of my Hope Activator journey. My mom would take me to JFK in New York, a large airport, and it was in the early 70s, and the Vietnamese refugees would be coming. And we would go every couple of weeks to greet them. Well, in December of 1971, it was a very special day because Leah was getting adopted by one of our close family friends. And I got there and I gave her my only Barbie doll. And I knew at that moment that I was giving her hope and that I wanted to continue to give hope to people throughout the years. And that's my mission today. Started at age 5, and it began with my mom, Peg Buckley. Why is hope essential for progress? Hope is the active belief in the possibility of meaningful change, fueling courage and energy to overcome challenges and embrace growth. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. That's from one of the men I admire, Desmond Tutu. And then Emily Dickinson said, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tunes without the words and never stops at all. Always looking for those possibilities. There are psychological and emotional benefits of hope. Increased resilience. Studies show that hopeful individuals are 14% more likely to find solutions in challenging situations. Viktor Frankl said, a person can endure almost anything as long as they have hope. There's reduced stress and anxiety. Research reveals that those with high hope levels experience a 23% reduction in stress related symptoms. Christopher Reeve, wow, did he have hope? He believed that once you choose hope, anything is possible. There's enhanced motivation. People with hope are 20% more likely to achieve their goals as it fuels persistence and an effort toward objectives. Helen Keller said optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. I love this picture. I said to my husband, we've been married 30 years, I'm like, we have to get those outfits because couples with shared hope report a 30% higher satisfaction in their relationship. Notice I said we get the outfits. Not sure about the double bike, but you never know. We have hope, and maybe that's part of my hopeful journey with him. And I saw this quote, and it was, hope is like Wi-Fi. You can't see it, but it keeps you connected to what matters most. There are physical health benefits that come from hope. Studies link hope to improved and 12% risk of cardiovascular disease and stronger immune system responses. Anne Lamott, a wonderful author, says, hope begins in the dark, the stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. Where do you find hope? Look at your values. Anchor yourself to those core beliefs during the tough times. Who's in your trust team? Who are the people, the 5 people in your personal life, in your work life, in your spiritual life? Who are your neighbors? Who are those people that are mentors that you can consider your trust team that can support you as you're going through challenging times? Find hope in faith or in your spirituality. Draw strength from past challenges that you've overcome. Keep a file of when you've used hope and go back and look at it and see how those challenges and then having hope made you get to a different outcome. And then also purpose. Align with the goals that inspire you and drive you and that give you the possibilities and make you want to do more. You know, there's a tale of 2 perspectives. There's hope versus fear. Hope, when you think of a direction or focus, hope focuses on possibilities and positive outcomes. Fear emphasizes threats, causing avoidance or paralysis. How often do you hear yourself say, I can't do it? I'm not good enough. That's fear. It has an impact on action. Hope inspires creativity to achieve goals and overcome obstacles. Fear drives defensiveness, focusing on risk avoidance. David Hawkins talks about force versus power. He is an incredible scientist. And when I learned about David Hawkins, what I learned is that every single conversation and interaction we have the choice to be in fear, in force, in defense, ego, shame, pride, or to be in power and strengths with hope and understanding and facts and love. And there are long term effects. Hope fuels resilience and persistence through challenges. Fear depletes energy, risking burnout and disengagement. When you look at hope in the future, hope inspires optimism. And there's an investment in what are those possibilities. Fear focuses on avoiding harm over pursuing the benefits. Fear is, oh gosh, what if? Hope is, even if. Let me tell you about Jules, a hope activator. So, Jules, I met when I was a chairperson for Relay for Life for the American Cancer Society in my town in New York. I was the chair for 15 years, and halfway through my tenure, we used to go and we'd get to talk to students. And we'd be with little kids up to high schoolers. And I remember the day I went to the fifth grade class. There were hundreds of kids, all in an auditorium. And I asked the question, how many of you know someone who's had cancer? And almost everybody raised their hand. That was eye opening for me because in my life, and when I was little and I was 10 years old, that was not the case. At least you didn't talk about it, and it didn't seem to be as rampant as it was. So it was important that we got into the schools and we taught them about putting on sunscreen, wearing a hat, uh, what they could do to try and not get cancer, and then also how can they support the people that do. And we'd have this relay for life, and these kids from 3-year-olds up to our elders would come together, thousands of people, and they would join together for this cause. So fast forward about 6 months, and I was reading a woman's Facebook post who was part of our community. And she was talking about her daughter, and her daughter was Jules. And she had just been diagnosed with leukemia. It was heart wrenching to read this story. And I knew I remembered her because she was at the workshop that I did with those fifth graders. And her mom spoke about having to have the social worker and the nurses come together to tell Jules that she had leukemia. And that hope activator, the first thing she said was, wow, now I can become a team captain and I can spread hope and I can share with the world how they can make a difference and I can beat this and be a survivor. And guess what? 2 years ago, Jules graduated from high school. She was the speaker at our Relay for Life, and she spread hope after 10 years all across our community because she never gave up. She thought of possibilities and not just the problems that came with it. That's hope, even if. So now let's step back a minute and look at for you and come up with a visualization exercise that will make a difference. Close your eyes. Go ahead, close them. And imagine your life filled with hope and purpose. Now visualize one specific goal you want to achieve and come up with 1 to 3 steps to get there. Identify the strengths you can use to reach that goal. You may not know a lot about strengths, but don't worry, it's coming. After you do this exercise, I want you to think back on how did it feel to achieve the goal and what changed in your life. And then write about it. And then write about how it felt, what you did, and then what steps do you want to take today to keep this vision a reality? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. So just take your time, think about this, and then you can put it aside and come back to it. And this is an exercise you can do often, depending on the goal or this challenge that you're going through. This is a path forward for you. You enjoyed that exercise. Now, also, when you think about creating your path to progress, I want you to think about the words that you use and the power that they have. I can, I will, I believe. And then think of those negative phrases, the ones that are in between your ears, causing clutter. I can't, I don't believe. Those phrases, they stop growth, they create blocks, and they hinder learning. Well, even neutral phrases like, I'll try, I can try, they lead to repetition without significant results. Positive phrases, I can, I am, it is done. They promote growth, action, and forward momentum. I do a lot of work with my clients on subconscious, and it takes at least 10 times to hear something repetitively in your subconscious to believe it. That has been proven by Ken Blanchard and other people that have studied this. Positive I am statements, affirmations make a difference. Remember, your thoughts plus your voice equal reality. So when you are talking to yourself and others, but most importantly, speaking to yourself first, speak and think positively to create a hope filled life full of grace. I'd love for you now to think about that and write 3 short phrases of hope, starting with I am. I'll give you a moment. Great. I hope you were able to get some of that done. Otherwise, you can go back to it later. These are Jane Storm's phrases of hope and positivity. I am a beacon of hope, lighting the way for myself and others. I am resilient, holding on to hope, even in the face of challenges. I am the creator of possibility, fueled by hope, strength, and determination. Try this. Say to yourself, when you have those negative comments coming through and there's so much clutter and self-doubt is creeping in and you have worry and there's a situation that's challenging in your life, I want you to try a simple exercise. It's 2 words. It's a question. Say to yourself, so what? So what? And then go down the path of so what? So I wasn't picked for that job. So what? I really wanted it. So what? Now I have to find something else. So what? It must not have been right for me. So what? I have to find something that gives me purpose. So what? See where I'm going with this? Take something small, take something big. And when you think of the word so what, and you start to journal it, you'll decide if this is a really hefty challenge or is this something that is a story that you have told yourself and that you have to work on. And if it's a challenge, it's going back to that trust team. Who are those people that can support you? Who are your mentors, coaches, peers, friends, family that can support you in whatever challenge you have? And so what? You'll get through it. Jane Storm says, you will get through it. And now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about strengths because hope is so important. We talked about how you want to hold on to that positive energy. And then when you bring your strengths in and you start to know them, you can declare your DNA of hope and strength. So when you declare it, you're identifying and affirming what you hope for. When you nourish it, you're building habits to sustain your hope. When you activate it, you're taking steps towards your goals. And then you're going to leverage your strengths and you're going to align your DNA of hope with your unique talents. Then, as always, you're going to step back and you're going to reflect and you're going to celebrate progress and adjust your path as needed. It's a process. This is a path to progress. Some days it's going to feel like you're absolutely up in that mountain. Other days it'll be flat, and other days it's going to feel easy. You're just moving along. But it takes time, energy, patience, and grace to have the integration of hope and strengths on a daily basis. I learned about strengths about 5 years ago, and it began with Don Clifton. Don Clifton, 50 years ago, asked one simple question that was huge. What would happen if we studied what is right with people instead of focusing on what is wrong with them? I'm going to say that again. What would happen if we studied what is right with people instead of focusing on what is wrong with them? How amazing is that question? That's for 50 years of research and studies and an assessment with Gallup. And it's now called the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And it's where you get to unleash the power of you. It's unlocking your potential that's already within you. Gallup has been studying this behavior for more than 70 years, and it found that people who have the opportunity to focus on their strengths every day are more than 3 times as likely to report having an excellent quality of life in general. The Clifton Strengths Assessment helps individuals and teams unlock their unique talents, turning them into strengths to thrive at life and at work. So, how do you discover about your strengths? You take this assessment. It takes about 20 minutes. Let me tell you, Fortune 500 companies, 467 of the Fortune 500 companies have used Clifton Strengths. It's used in the military. It's used in universities. It's used in families. We just recently did it and over Thanksgiving. And it was so cool because my son has a fiance now, and we got to get to know her through her strengths. And it was such a productive and beautiful way to ask questions without feeling nosy. And when you align your tasks with your strengths, you get to focus on projects that leverage what you do well. And you get to set strength based goals, creating goals that align with your natural talents. There are 34 of them. There are all of these talents out there, and they're broken out into 4 domains. And you start to look at this and you're like, aha, no wonder people say I'm always happy. Positivity, number one. When you learn about your strengths, you grow and you have ability to have new skills or mentorship to help others that may not have your top strengths and need that support. They may be in your trust team and they have completely opposite strengths. So you guys get to work together to bring it together and make a difference. How to keep hope and strengths alive. Habits. Oh, habits matter. You can tell how strong a person is by the habits that they engage in on a daily basis, like journaling, meditation, gratitude, exercising. All of these sustain hope. They bring in your strengths. When you're looking at your habits, it's important to break those down, just like your challenges, into steps. Focus on small, manageable steps to stay motivated. Surround yourself with positivity. Seek out uplifting books, music, stories, people. I can tell you that watching the news 24/7 is not going to be a source of hope. Service to others. When you work with others, there is something about it that rekindles hope and reveals that shared strength that builds community and causes us to feel like we are one. And when you have adaptability, that helps embrace change and focus on the opportunities that come with it. So when we look at this, there are 3 things that can transform self doubt into confidence when it comes to hope and strengths. Clarity. Hope inspires and strengths guide. Resilience. Hope fuels, strengths empower. When you think about it, hope gives you a positive outlook, while strengths reveals what you do best. There are 3 ways you can transform self doubt into confidence when it comes to hope and strengths. The first is clarity, then there's resilience and connection. When you think of clarity, hope provides that positive outlook, while strengths reveal what you do best. And when you put them together, they guide you toward achievable goals and meaningful progress. Resilience, hope sustains energy and optimism during those challenging times. And strengths helps you approach those obstacles with confidence and capability. And then connection. Hope inspires collaboration, and strength fosters appreciation. And when you put those together, you create deeper relationships and a sense of purpose. So, looking at a path to progress, it's through clarity, resilience, and connection using your hope and your strengths. Why do they matter? Every single one of us wants to be seen, heard, valued, and understood. When we feel seen, we feel that our contributions are acknowledged and that we belong. When we feel heard, we feel more open. We're more likely to share. When we feel valued, we want to be confident. We feel it. We feel the ability that, hey, I've got your back and I know you value me. And understood. Respect builds trust and connection through understanding. So when you think about this, how will you ensure you're seen, heard, valued, and understood? Take some time, think about it, and remember that those are the path to your progress. To feel that, to feel seen, feel be heard, to feel valued and understood. And then you throw in the hope and the strengths, and it all comes together in this beautiful path towards progress. If you want to know more and actually deep dive into an activity, I have a form called the DNA of Hope, and it's on my website, janestorm.com, or you can email me at janestorm.com. I'd love to send it to you and have conversations around why hope matters. Because remember, it stands for holding on to positive energy. It doesn't mean there aren't problems. It means there are possibilities. This activity will guide you through the process of declaring, nourishing, and activating hope into your life. If this information interested you about hope and strengths, in 2025, we have a 6-week course, The Path to Progress. We'll talk about deep diving into the DNA of hope, discovering your strengths. The Clifton Strengths Assessment will be included in the course. Nourishing hope and strengths, building connections, activating progress, and of course, celebrating success. You can find more out about this at my website, janestorm.com. And also, you could be part of my Hope Activator community. It meets once a month, the last Wednesday of the month. It's free. It's open to anybody that's looking at holding on to possibilities on Zoom with people from around the globe to form a community where we can make a difference, starting small and growing and growing and growing till we are just full of hope everywhere we turn. I'd like to just have you now just step back a minute. We talked about a lot. I'm going to end with the meditation. So just breathe for a minute. Take a moment. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, letting the air fill your lungs. As you breathe in, imagine you're drawing in a soft, glowing light, a light full of warmth, comfort, and hope. Feel this light gently fill your heart, spreading warmth and calmness throughout your entire body. Picture it moving from your heart to your arms, down to your legs, all the way to your toes. With each breath, let this light grow brighter, filling you with a strong sense of hope. This hope is like a small but steady flame inside of you, one that never goes out, no matter what. It's always there, guiding you and giving you strength. Take one more deep breath. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, carrying the hope and your strength and purpose with you. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning into this. I look forward to meeting new connections and hearing more about the Strive Life Summit and the contributors. And thank you for joining today. I hope you learned some really great tools and tips about hope and strengths. I look forward to meeting you and hearing more about your life. Jane Storm, thank you for positive force for your future.